Project number 1. I love you, mirror. So I cut out on my Cricut a heart shape and then cut that out with cardboard. And I took a Dollar Tree foam board and measured it so that I could cut it in half. You want to make sure that you cut it in half, and then we'll cut off the remaining pieces after that. But just use something that's straight so that you can make sure to get your board as straight as possible as you're cutting to work this project. And then as you can see, I am using 4 of my Dollar Tree mirrors that I also picked up. These are recycled mirrors, and I'm measuring 2.5 inches from each end, and I want that measurement all the way around the edges of the board. On the side where I had a longer width, I came from the mirror and measured 2.5 out, and then I will just trace a line all the way down to make sure that I cut the board so that it is an even 2.5 all the way around the square. And you can see here that I'm cutting that out using the straight edge and a very sharp X-Acto knife so that we can have that even. And then just making sure that everything was balanced. I repeated this step twice for both of the halves of the boards that I had cut out. I also drew a circle all the way around with my pencil so that I would know exactly where to replace my mirrors when the time came. On the second round, I did the exact same thing, but then in the middle of each mirror where they meet up at, I put a little check mark so that I knew where the center of the square was so that I could bring in my heart that we cut out earlier and trace that around, because now it is time to cut the heart out of the foam board. Using again an X-Acto knife, just cut that out until you have the heart removed. And taking my template, this is a perfect sizing, so I cut it all properly. Now you can see here that I have this square, and I would like to use the back side of this when I take this all outside to spray paint and have everything prepared. I wish that I had remembered that, because you'll see later that I didn't spray paint the right side. But before we do our spray painting, I'm going to take some of these tower blocks and I'm going to just lay them out onto the board and glue them down so that we can make our picture a little thicker. And before I glue down my glass mirrors, I want to do a dry fit to make sure that everything works properly. You can see my Harbros. I love them. I picked them up from the Dollar Tree. Now, I took everything outside, spray painted them all once I had it all glued down, and here I'm just gluing down the mirrors. You can see that the spray paint, even though I tried to give it light coats, the paper on the foam board started to waffle, but that's okay. We won't worry about that. But this is the one mistake that I made. I didn't mean to paint this side where you can see my square lines, but we're going to cover that up because I want to add these table scatters, which I picked up from Hobby Lobby for $5.99 with 40% off. Now I spread the table scatters out around the board, and I started adding some bling wrap to it so that we can finalize the interior of the heart and just giving it a proof finished look. And it's right about here that I decided that this board needed a little bit more to it. It was just really plain, and I wanted to spruce it up a little bit more. So believe it or not, I took off every single one of the hearts that we had placed on here, and I decided to add a little bit of glam to it, a little more bling. For the additional bling, I'm going to use this heart-shaped glitter. These are so cute, little bitty hearts. What a perfect time to use them at Valentine's. Mix them into my Mod Podge, and I spread a thin layer of the Mod Podge heart glitter mixture onto my foam board. And I replaced all of the heart scatters, added a little bit of hot glue to the tower blocks, and placed the top board on top of the bottom to reveal the heart and have it seen here. I cleaned everything up, added a little bit of that diamond wrap onto the outside or the edges of my project so that it too can look finished all the way around. And look at how beautiful this project turned out to be. If I did this over again, I'd make sure to do lighter levels of the spray and definitely flip it over so that my pencil square doesn't show through. But I think it's beautiful. Tell me what you think. Leave me a comment down below. Now for project number 2. Hugs and Kisses books. So I picked this Hugs and Kisses block up. It's just like the little faux books that they have at the Dollar Tree. And I think this is cute by itself, but of course we need to glam it up a little bit and just give it a little bit more, what do you say, classiness? Yes, that's what we'll do. We'll make it a little classier. You can see that it had glue spreads all over it, but what do you expect for $1.25? And I just love how it says love you always. So we're going to take off this little bow. The other ribbon is actually in the design of the books, so you can't take those off, but we'll cover that all up. I just want to make sure to get off this excess glue, and so I'm using my Cricut spatula to remove that. Once I had it all cleaned up and the excess glue off of it, I came in with some Mod Podge, and yes, I am using a piece of silicone paper as my Mod Podge wrap, or as my Mod Podge wipe. I'll use anything in crafting. And I'm just going to come in with this Mod Podge and make sure that I have smooth lines, and then I will fill this and cover this up with red glitter. And let's see here, we'll get a piece of paper to cover our surface and catch our glitter, and then I'll just use red glitter all across the top and the sides. I'm going to repeat these steps for all 3 of the colors of the box using a darker pink and a lighter pink, and I won't make you watch me do that, but that's what I'll do. And on each one of them, I'm going to lay the glitter down with my fingers so that it will have a iridescent look to it, and it will actually lay the glitter down. And so we'll do that in between each section, and then I'll be back. Got to capture your glitter and put it away. So we're back. Look how magical that is. Very pretty. Are you ready to see this? Yes, sis. Look at how that turned out. Okay, so we used a lighter glitter, a mauve pink, and a light pink, and we have everything we want. But as you can see, it's covered up our words a little bit. That's okay, because we'll fix that later, because I do want the words to be on our box. But what I want to do in the meantime is take my black Sharpie and draw in between the lines of, or draw in between on each part, coloring that brown wood look, if you would, making that black. It's kind of like the difference or the shadowing of the books, I think, is what they're trying to make it look like. So we want to cover that with the black marker all the way around and just make it look a little bit better than just having that faux wood show through. I think it looks better already. What do you think? What do you think? And just take your time and do this on both of the lines so that your project will be fully complete. Next, I'm going to come in with another layer of Mod Podge just to seal that glitter in, because we don't want it to have a lot of glitter fall out. This will prevent your glitter fallout if you're doing any glitter projects. Just seal it with a layer of Mod Podge, making sure that it's smooth. You want your Mod Podge to be as smooth as possible when you're sealing the layers. Once we finish putting on this final coat, we will allow this to dry completely before we move on. Now that that's dry, I'm coming in with some of this, I believe this is a 1/2 inch white ribbon, and we're going to just replace the white ribbon with where the faux ribbon was on the box. And I think it's a little crooked, so I was trying to lift it up, but I decided to just let it go. You can also see that on the front of the box, I painted it white with some white paint right over where the checkered black and white ribbon was, because I don't want that to show through our ribbon. It is thin, it is white, and that black and white would show through. I just made sure to have that glued down and snipped it accordingly. And then to add a little bit of classy to it, to bling it up a little bit more, I came on each side of the ribbon and added some of that bling wrap that we had used on our project earlier. I also added a little bow, and coming in with my Deco Primo silver color premium pen. This is kind of like a metallic ink. It's so beautiful. I could see the words and the letters through the glitter, and I just traced them freehand with the silver metallic pen that I have to replace the words and put them back. This is freehand, so it won't be exactly perfect like it was, but it will be pretty and it will make it my own. Now, you don't have to do this way. You could absolutely use a Cricut. You could cut this out, or you could paint it so that the words aren't covered up, but I decided to come and replace my words this way. Isn't that cool? Love it. And here is our final result. I added 2 of those Dollar Tree mirrors and some of the table scatters just to spruce it up a little bit. Imagine how pretty this would look on your cubicle desk or your office desk or even at your home. Now it's time for project number 3, Love Always. I found 2 of these really long house boards at the Dollar Tree. I thought they were rather flimsy, so I bought 2 of them, and I am going to glue them together just to make it a more sturdy sign. I took off the hanging item, or the hanging string that it had on them, and glued the 2 of them together. Once I had them glued together and straight, I allowed that to dry, and then I came in with my measuring tape so that I could see how much distance and space I had to do my lettering down the middle of the signs. And since I see that it is about 18 by 5 7/8, armed with those measurements, I could go to my Silhouette Cameo Studio and decide how large I wanted to make my letters and still keep them within the measurements of the board. So I cut the words Love Always, and I weeded the letters, and I am prepared to place them onto my board. But before I do that, I'm going to fill these holes with a little bit of hot glue so that when I come in with the paint, they will be covered up as well. And I also want to make sure that I run right down the center of the board. So I'm going to take my measuring tape and I'm going to find the center of the heart and go to the bottom of my board. And I'm just going to put a thin pencil drawing along the bottom. Couldn't see that one, so I needed to do it again so that I could place my letters as centered as I could get them on a freehand down the center of our board. Again, I'm doing this freehand, and I just want to make sure that I have it as straight as I can visually on the board, making sure that I don't have any gaps or any air bubbles between the edges of my letters and the board. I want to get it as stuck well down to the board as possible. Then I came in with my Always and put it at the bottom of the word love, and I prepped for the next step. Next, what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of this silver metallic paint. I'm going to mix it with the Elephant Waverly chalk paint, which will make kind of a thick pasty combination. And then I'm going to add a little bit of Mod Podge to it, which will make it really chunky, almost like a cement, if you would. And I'm going to cover the entire board with this mixture. Once I get the board covered, I come in with a little bit of iridescent glitter to give it some bling. And then I just roll over that with my brush lightly so the glitter is laid down into the Mod Podge mixture. I allow that to dry just a little bit. It's still wet, but I want to pull my letters now so that I can get a clean lines. I added some of the Dollar Tree little beads, and this is my love sign. Now, I'm not a farm girl, so this is probably as farm girly as you'll get, and it's still kind of a glam farm girl look, if you would. Yeah, I guess. It is what it is, and I like it. It's cute. Project number 4, I must say Tricolor Love is my absolute favorite one. I found this heart-shaped bead and this heart sign from the Dollar Tree. They were sold separately and I hot glued them together off camera. I wanted to make sure if you do this project, make sure that you get enough glue on the beads, especially in the areas where they would spin, so that they don't spin on you as you do the next step. I came in with some crimson red Waverly chalk paint, and I painted the entire top portion of the heart sign with this red. So I did the first 2 boards in the red, and then I did the remaining boards in a different color. Now, once the first 2 were painted red, I didn't have any pink chalk paint, so I went to elementary school and I mixed white and red together to make pink. And I just kept mixing that until I got the color that I wanted, because now I'm going to do the 3rd board in this beautiful pink color. So you want to make sure that you get in between all of your edges and on the front and the back. So look at it from different angles and from different viewpoints so that you can make sure you're painting the entire project and covering it well. You definitely want the edges to be covered well, because that's the part that will be exposed. The middle is not as important, but I like to make sure that we do all of it equally nice. You never know. You just never know who'll look at that. And while the pink was still semi-wet, I came in with the white and I blended the a little bit of the pink here and there so that it would make my white a softer pink, but not as pink as the third plaque or third row is. And so it's hard to see on camera, but it does have a pink hue to it, just because of the wet pink paint that is from the other bowls and from the top that's bleeding down into it. And that is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want it to be a stark white. I wanted it to have a little pink hue to it. And so you just want to make sure you do this twice and get good coverage on your entire board. Here you can see where it's a little more pinkish. Now, because it's so matte, chalk paint is matte, and I am a glam girl, we're going to glam this up with a little bit of this gloss Mod Podge, and it's also going to add some sheen, and it will seal the color in. If you ever decide to just let this display this just like this, which you absolutely could do, then you would have it ready for display. And we'll make sure to get in between the balls and all around the edges, again looking at different vantage points from all sides, all angles, to make sure that you get glue everywhere that it needs to be. And just do this across the entire project. Once I had the Mod Podge on all of it, I came in with a second coat. On my second coat, I added glitter along the edges so that we could add that extra bling, that extra glam. You don't have to worry about doing the center, because in the center we're going to add our roses, and so it won't be seen anyway. But make sure to go in with your glitters and add those. This glitter right here is one I believe that my daughter did a custom mix on when she was selling her glitters, and so it's perfect for this mixture here. Look how pretty, 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 pretty. If you want to, try to save your glitter or catch it on a piece of paper and save it. I didn't on this half, but I would recommend that. And I'm also going to ask that you please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Now we have our sign dry. I'm going to come in with these roses that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to dry fit to make sure that they all work before we actually come back in and glue them down. Once I had the sizing and the number of roses that I needed, notice that I'm using all 3 of the colors of what we glued or what we painted the board. I'm going to come in and I'm going to glue them all to our board and fluff and zhuzh them as you need to so that they're not smashed up. Now be careful on this one, because you do want the roses to be kind of open and spread, but you need them close together. You don't want them to lose their rose appearance, and you don't want them to be all smashed up. And that worked out beautiful. Once we had our roses in, now it's time to add our hanger back on. Now you could say, Sharon, why'd you take the hanger off? Why didn't you just leave the one that was there? I don't like to see the string of the hanging elements. I like to put it so that the string will be hidden when I hang it, as you can see here. When we hang this on our nail, our tack, whatever it is that we're going to hang it on, we will not be able to see the string because we lowered it from the vantage point of view. And this is how beautiful this turned out. That is why it is my favorite. If you made it this far, you have seen my 4 Valentine's projects that we will make for this Valentine. I hope you like and subscribe, and I want to thank you for watching.